Hi, everybody, and welcome to Renewed Mind Revolution with your host, Michelle Kakal. Today is going to be a good day. I came on to you guys today in the middle of the week because I had a thought that I really want to relate to you today. It's something that we briefly discussed before in our previous podcast, but I felt very driven to share this information with you today. So if you are excited as I am, then let's go ahead and get started as we talk about getting to the root of your issue, the root of your problem, the root of your concern. Those who suffer from anxiety, those who suffer from panic attacks, those who suffer from depression, those who are suffering from lack of focus, those who are not driven anymore, those who are dealing with any type of emotional issue, those who are finding it very difficult to get up out the bed and face your day. This is the podcast for you. This is your time. This is your moment, because we're going to talk about getting to the root of your issue. A lot of times we think that we can dance around the root of our issue and be okay. But the truth is, we must always go back and find out what happened. Find out when this started. And I'm going to share with you a very special story about someone who actually had began to suffer health-wise once they had something tragic happen in their lives. And once we discuss what their issue was, the root of the issue, then they begin to see when things begin to go further south for them with their health. So today we're going to share, and I'm going to share some tips and some tools with you becoming a better you. This is Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast, where we believe in clicking that reset button. That's right, that reset button, which means it doesn't matter how long you have made poor choices, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how many mistakes you have made, does not matter how long you've been on this journey of making poor decisions. You can always start all over again. We believe in second chances, third chances, fourth chances. As long as we are breathing, as long as God gave us grace to wake up in the morning, we believe in starting all over again and giving ourselves a fresh start, because His grace is sufficient. His mercy allows us to continue to try to do better for ourselves, so that we can become the individuals that God has created for us to be. So I am so excited to be able to share with you today, because guess what? When I help you, what am I doing? I am helping myself. So you guys know I'm excited about that. Before we get on our topic, I just want to remind you guys to go on and check out the books on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. You can look up Faith versus Fear, or look up Breaking Family Ties. There's also The Crowd that is now available on Amazon.com. So these books are the books in which we talk about on this podcast. A lot of the material is found in those books, and I want to be able to relate to you guys and communicate with you guys. So I want you to go ahead and take that time to connect with me on other social media platforms. So go ahead and check me out on Facebook, check me out on Instagram, and check me out on Twitter. I would love to be able to chit chat with you on those platforms as well. You can also leave me a comment on any of the outlets that you're listening to today, and I will respond to you, because I love to communicate with my listeners. I'm so blessed and fortunate that you now can listen to this podcast on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Isn't that awesome? So now you have your choice as to when and where you listen to Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast. Listen, guys, I am so excited And I'm so happy to be able to take this time and talk to you and share with you. I want to encourage you today. Before I start, I tell you how awesome you are. I tell you how great you are. And I tell you that I'm proud of you, because as the world is completely going into chaos, you are still making it. You are still striving. You are still going, and you are still focusing on the things that matter. You are still purpose driven. You are finding your purpose in the middle of a pandemic. Isn't that awesome that you can find your purpose in the middle of a pandemic? There's so many businesses. There's so many strengths that are coming out of this pandemic. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see people begin to take something that is heartbreaking and very difficult, and you're finding your voice, you're finding your talent, you're finding your purpose, and it's awesome. And I'm so very proud of you for doing that. So I do really want to get started today. We're going to talk about getting to the root of your problem. We cannot avoid that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me emphasize that to you today. You cannot avoid getting to the root of your problem. So what do I mean? A lot of people who, for example, suffer from anxiety, there is a root for your anxiety. There is a reason why you are having panic attacks. And so in order for you to begin healing, you need to go and find out what that root is. There are people who are suffering from major fears and phobias. You need to get to the root of what's causing that. When did that start? So let me start off with a story that I want to share with you. And the person I'm going to talk about in this story is my sister. You guys know she's very dear to my heart. I lost her many, many years ago. She was sick. She was born with heart conditions, and she had to have surgery when she was a teenager. But despite all of that, my sister was a very strong person. And so we did everything together. I mean, everything. And she was in the birthing room of all of my children. And it was just her and my husband, my mother, and no one else. I just wanted my sister. That's how close we were. She was not able to have children, so her and I made this deal that when I had kids, we would share. So part of that deal was that she would be there during their birth, and she was there faithfully, and she loved every bit of it, and she spoiled my kids rotten, okay? So she was the best sister and the best aunt in the world. Now, let me share this with you. My sister, she traveled with us as a family. Me and her was faithfully traveling to the malls and to the stores, and we were always visiting each other, and we had a great time. Over the years, when you see someone all the time, you see things happening to them, but you really don't pay attention to it until maybe one day you just see, okay, something has completely changed. Like, what happened? So I had one of those moments with my sister because I saw her all the time, talked to her several times a day. And my sister, she was very independent. She did a lot of things. She went to school and college. She wanted to study nursing. She's very independent. And then my sister, she really did not have to use oxygen. But at one time, all of a sudden, it seemed like she started using oxygen at night. And she needed it all the time. She had pulmonary hypertension, so she had high blood pressure in her lungs. This was like a side effect from her heart condition from when she was a teenager. So it went from that to watching her need oxygen everywhere we went. It was like she had a portable oxygen. My sister was very young. Okay, she was in her 40s when she passed away. So she was very, very young. So she started using oxygen everywhere we went, and which drew up our attention because everybody wanted to know, was she a smoker? What happened to her? Strangers, and the story was always the same. No, I just have pulmonary hypertension. And one day, like I said, she went from not needing it to needing it at night to needing it every day. And then it went to the point where she literally was depending on this to breathe. Like she had to have it, period. Sleep, woke, walk, sit, it doesn't matter. That oxygen machine always had to be on. Before it used to be, she felt this little discomfort, a little aggravated, a little whatever, and then you go get it for her. Then it just became like a necessity, which just to me, I did not really pay attention to it happening until one day I looked at her and we, decided we were going to go to lunch together. And I asked my sister, this was like one of the most, we've had so many conversations together. We had so many awesome conversations, but this was one of those times where you just knew, this was going to be different. And I had to ask her because I did not hide anything from my sister. She didn't hide anything from me. And that's just what we were. We were just very honest and open with one another. I just believe in that, period. But this is like a person that you could do that with no judgment. And so I looked at her and I asked her, when did this happen? When did you go from, not needing it to needing it at night to have to have your oxygen 24/7, like a necessity? Like, when did this happen? And my sister, she said to me, when Dad died, our dad, he passed away. For those who don't know my story, he passed away. Another, crushing blow in my life. I was just actually 22. I was in 7th grade when he first had a stroke, and then after that, to be honest with you, his life just, it was just one thing after another with him. But I was 22. I had just had my baby, and my married and had my baby, and I was ready for life, and then I lose my father, and that's what happened. So my sister, she said to me, she said, when Dad died, she said, that's when everything happened. And one day I looked at this chart that tells you about your body and your organs and different parts of your organs that are affected by different things. And so to just be clear, when I looked at this, it said grief affects your lungs. And I was just blown away. Like, I was just blown away. Now, I didn't know that when I talked to my sister. I didn't know that, grief can affect people's lungs. Grief and pain and stress, it takes a toll on our physical body, not just our, mental and emotional, but it takes a toll on your physical body. And so like I'm saying, like, she always had, problems, but it was never to the point where she needed oxygen 24/7 for just a necessity to live, to breathe. Like, that was her breath at that point. And it was so concerning to me, and to hear her tell me, listen, when Dad died, this is when this all went down for me. And I know for me, when my dad died, it struck such a nerve. It changed my whole entire life. I went through so much emotionally. I had just gotten married. I had a brand new baby. And I had to now live my life without my hero. And I mean, when I tell you I went through changes, let me be transparent. I went through changes. I don't know how other people function and how they deal with things. And we all deal with things differently. And I'm going to stick with that because I believe that we all handle our grief and pain differently. So I don't judge people, when they can move on real quick. But for me, it was not a quick process. It was very painful. And I was very hurt. And it changed a lot of things for me. It changed how I looked at things, how I thought about things, because, he was like one of the most strongest people I've ever known. And to watch him kind of deteriorate bothered me a whole lot. And so I understood her when she tells me that this was her downfall. I understood that. We were very close as a family. He was a pinnacle of our family, and we were a family of faith. So this really hurt, really, really hurt. And so that was her root. That was her root. This was out of her own mouth. I'm not making it up. I'm not saying anything that's not true or accurate. She told me this herself, that this is her rut. This was her moment where everything began to decline more. Let's say it declined at a rapid rate. Okay, let's say it declined at a rapid rate for her. She had underlying conditions, but she was fine as far as, being independent, doing what she needed to do, taking care of herself, not necessarily needing this 24/7. I mean, it did something to her. So what I'm saying to you is, it is imperative. It is absolutely imperative that you and I get to the root of what is causing our decline. Find the moment, that time that you first experienced whatever it was, whether it is, like I said, anxiety, depression, loss of focus, when you just got tired, when you just felt like not getting up, facing the day. What happened to cause you to feel like that? What was the moment that kind of pushed you to that place? And sometimes it can be multiple things that kind of snowball, and then you come to this crash. But before that snowball, there was like this one moment, this one thing, and it kind of pushed you into the snowball. It's like that one snowball, that little one that you can hold in your hand, before it became this big monster that became bigger than you. So it is imperative for you to get to the source. It can be, to be honest with you, it can be a person. It could be a person. It could be a person in your life that told you your entire life that you were not going to be anything, that you were not going to be successful, that you are not smart enough, that you're not good enough, that you don't come from a right family. I mean, they could have just done nothing but rip you apart and not expect anything good to come from you. And that could be your root. You're wondering why you self-afflict yourself. You wonder why you don't think that you're worthy to have anything. You wonder why you constantly saying to yourself that, okay, bad things, that's just been my life. Everything happens to me. And you have this very negative mindset, and you wondering, why am I thinking like this all the time? Other people are so positive. They have a positive outlook. That's just not me, because with me, when it rains, it pours. When it's one thing, it's another. Why do you think like that? Well, get to the root. It could be that person. It could be that person. It could be an event, like my sister, It could be an event in your life that changed you. I always talk about, I use an example all the time for individuals who might have a car accident. And because of that car accident, they no longer want to get in the car, or they no longer want to drive in the car because they're so traumatized. That's the root. That is the root. It could be sickness. It could be sickness. I remember, for me personally, having, issues with GERD, and having issues with low iron. And so with that, with having low iron at times in my life, I was always dizzy and feeling faintish. And it was very concerning to me, because at the time I didn't know what it was. And so, if you allow your mind to play games with you, it could come up with a whole lot of things that can be, right? So between being faintish and suffering constantly in my stomach from this acid reflux, that's all GERD is. It's just acid that constantly comes up to your esophagus. And trust me, as simple as I'm making this sound, it can be extremely painful, because it makes your chest feel like it's closing in, and like you can't breathe, and it's just very painful. So between these two, that was actually happening simultaneously. Oh my goodness, my mind just had a field day with all of these crazy symptoms that, mind you, beforehand I had never had before. So that became what? This little snowball became this big snowball that became this big, huge, life size, larger than me, snowball. And so I get it. That was my root. Was having all these things happen to me at once. And so, when you don't know what's going on and you allow your mind to begin to create its own diagnosis or its own little, craziness or world, then you will have way more issues than what you started with. So what I'm saying is, some people, you have an issue, a physical issue, you deal with your physical issue and you move on. Some of us have a physical issue and we make this physical issue like a mountain that begins to affect more than just our physical. It begins to affect our emotional and our mental and everything else. And so we have to be very careful when these things come into our lives. We have to be very careful and very mindful, because what we have to do, we have to make sure that we're looking at the roots. We have to make sure that we know, when did I start this? Well, I knew over time, because I'm always doing this reflection back on myself. Michelle, what is going on with you? Michelle, what happened? And I had to see, okay, this started when I started getting sick. This started when, I started getting lightheaded and dizzy and all this. This happened when I started having this. So I had to get to that root in order for me to begin to heal. It's about healing. All this is about healing. You're not getting to the root just to know it, but you're trying to get to the root of your problem or your concern so that you can begin to receive your healing. And we all can be susceptible to this. Do not think that, I'm stronger than this and I'm stronger than that, because the reality of it, from personal experience, I've seen people who think that they're very strong and they handle things very, well, and that doesn't bother me, and this, and I've heard them say, that don't bother me, this don't bother me, that don't, and I've heard them say this, and then what I watch is a bunch of residue from all the things that they're saying is not bothering them. That's the reality. And that's 100% truth. I've seen people who say, I'm not bothered by those things. That does not affect me. That doesn't happen to me. I don't worry about this. I'm stronger than that. And I watch all the residue of them having this attitude, all the residue of them saying this, this stuff that's not true. It affects them. It just affects them in a different way. And then, to be honest with you, a lot of people who I've seen and have had experience with, who have said, well, and I know they've had a lot of trauma, a lot of issues, a lot of problems, but they don't deal with it. They don't get to the root. They're not concerned about it. They don't believe in therapy. They don't believe in talking. They don't believe in sharing. I watched them hurt other people. And that's the truth. I've watched them hurt other people. So we want to make sure that we process and deal with what's going on in our lives so that we don't turn around and torment other people. Okay, you want to make sure that, you're not walking around saying, I'm unbothered, but you have all this residue of the fact that you are bothered. You're not hurting just other people, but you are hurting yourself. Sometimes people think, they're just lashing out. Well, I'm just going to tell people how I feel. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to let them hurt me or whatever. But the truth is, they're hurting themselves. The first step to healing, especially when you feel like you've been hurt, is to forgive. And let me tell you about this, if you have never heard before, which I'm probably sure that you have. The part about forgiveness, and this is something that I learned, is that when you forgive someone, you're not letting them off the hook. You're letting yourself off the hook. We say that, but I don't think we really think about that. It is so true. Because if my attitude and my mannerism change when you come in the room because I am bothered by you, then who is affected? It's affecting me. It's affecting me. It's affecting my health. It's affecting my mental state of mind when you're around. I'm not giving anyone that much power over me. You shouldn't give anyone that much power over you. So we must heal and we must forgive so that we can help ourselves. So if I tell a person I forgive you, it's because I want to let myself off the hook. I want to make sure that I'm not carrying any baggage or residue from what has happened between me and that person. I don't want to carry that pain. Come on, somebody. I don't want to carry that pain. I don't want to carry that hurt. I don't want to carry the ugly that came from that. I don't want to carry that. Come on. I don't want to carry betrayal. I don't want to carry the fact that someone has cursed me, has betrayed me, has belittled me. Come on. I don't want to carry that. I don't want to carry that mask, of pretending to be okay. I want to be okay. I want you to be okay. And how do you get to that point? Once you get to the root of whatever it is that got you where you are, because everybody's situation and conditions are different. So you know your situation and you know your condition. So whatever it is, I want you to get to that root of it. Find out when it first started. Find out what triggered it. Find out when it first happened. When did you first experience that pain, that whatever discomfort. Find out when you start to decline. Find out when. Find out when everything starts to go down. Find out when everything starts to go south. Come on. Find that out. And when you get to that root, I want you to begin to say, you know what? I want to be healed from this. I want to be free from this. And I want you to open your mouth and say that. I want to be free. I want to be free. You know how many times I've had to say that? Come on, because it's constantly something that comes. And you have to open your mouth and say, I want to be free from you. Come on. I want to be free from that person. So you have to open your mouth and say, I forgive John. I forgive Bob. I forgive Mary. I forgive them. And I let it go. And I pray that they have healing as I receive my healing. Come on. Let it go. I remember. You have to go back and say, I remember when this happened. So I pray that I receive healing from that moment 10 years ago when they hurt me, when they touched me inappropriately. I forgive right now. I let it go. Not for them, but for me. I let it go because I don't want to carry that pain anymore. I don't want to carry that abuse, the residue of being abused. Come on, somebody. I don't want to carry the residue of being abused. Somebody need to open their mouth and just say, I don't want to carry the residue of being abused anymore. I want to be free. Free for me. I deserve to be free. Whom the Son has set free is free indeed. I want to be free. And you have to open your mouth and say, I want to be free. Somebody need to declare today, I'm going to get to the root. I'm going to get to the root. Tell somebody today that you love and that you trust. And tell them, I'm going to get to the root. I'm going to get to the root of my problem. I'm going to get to the root of my issue. Because I deserve to be free and I want to be free today. I want to be free. Whenever it started, whatever that moment was, go to that moment and free yourself. Look, I am free. I don't hold no ought against anybody. I don't hate anybody. I'm not mad anymore. I didn't understand it, but I'm not mad no more. Come on, look at grief and say, I didn't get it. I don't know why they left. I don't know why they had to go. They had so many plans and they had so much promise, but I don't know why. I don't know why it happened to them. I love them and I miss them, and I don't know why it had to happen to them, but grief, you can't have me. Grief, I got too much to do, so you can't have me. You can't have my joy. You can't have my peace. Come on. You can't have my life. I don't give it over to you. Somebody need to declare today, I'm going to be free. Grief can't have me. Pain can't have me. Hurt cannot have me. It can't have me. Come on. Somebody been hurt by their spouse. Somebody been betrayed by a spouse. You can't have me. That pain can't have me. Come on. They did it to you, but you're punishing yourself every day that you still hold on to it. Every day that you constantly allow it to do a replay in your mind over and over again. The hurt, the pain, the hurt, the pain, the betrayal. You're hurting yourself. So you have to say, you can't have me. I've given you 5 years of my life. You can't have me anymore. Come on, somebody. You can't have me anymore. You've given so much of your time. You've given so much of your life. You have to open your mouth and say, you can't have me. I've given too much of myself already. But today is my day. Today is my day. You guys, I feel awesome sharing this with you today. I feel like it's something that needed to be said. And I'm so glad that I'm able to share this with you. If you are getting what you need from this one today, reach out to me and let me know. If you're getting what you need today from this podcast, reach out to me and let me know that you heard me. Reach out to me and let me know that you have made up in your mind that you are going to be free. Let me know today that you heard it. Not only did you hear it, but you did what? You received it. Not only did you hear it and receive it, but what you're going to do, you're going to apply it. Today is your day. Today is your day. It's your moment. I don't believe in coincidence. Every day that I would share messages to people, I will always make them confess that it is not by accident, it's not by coincidence, but it's by God's great design that you are here today. So I'm going to share that with you. Hear me very clearly. It's not by accident, it's not by coincidence, but it's by God's great design that you are here. So you're not an accident, and it's not an accident that you're hearing me today. You have purpose. You have purpose. God bless you guys. It's been my honor as always to be able to come on and share with you some tips and tools that I know is going to assist you to becoming a better you. You are free. You are free. Walk into your freedom. Walk into it today. I want you guys to have an outstanding day. Declare it, decree it, take it back. Whatever's happened this morning or earlier today in your life, and it's over. Let it go. Let's move on. Let's click that reset button. You have been listening to Renew My Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Kakal. And as always, it is my honor and my pleasure to be able to come and share with you. Remember, I love you, but most importantly, God loves you more. God bless you guys.